and keep it in the classroom.
Okay. How would you lessen the reliance on property taxes to fund education?
I don't think right now you can. I think that we have this large tax structure in place, and I don't think that's an easy tax structure to break. And most of the local tax structure goes to pay for local things. It doesn't generally. Most of that money doesn't go to the state. It goes to roads, goes to education, goes to fire and police services. So I don't see that any reduction from the state being able to portion in more money is going to happen in the recent future.
If elected, would you introduce or support legislation limiting the scope of collective bargaining, salaries, benefits, and conditions of work?
I think the only thing that I might add to that would be if the state doesn't take on, in terms of the education, mandating teacher education in terms of their licensing or certification, however we want to go forward with that, that part of the agreement should include that as well. I think for the most part, it should include just those things, but I think in terms of professional development, once again, if the state doesn't handle it, then the communities should mandate for teachers their development.
If elected, would you make any changes to the Board of Regents for elementary and secondary education? And would you consider appointing a school committee member to the board?
I think, in all honesty, that the Board of Regents probably should be made up of one person from each town and city. That whether it be a committee member, that it should be committee members who, a lot of them are former teachers. So I think you kill two birds with one stone by having it formed completely from, at least for elementary education and for pre-higher education, for not higher education. For higher education, you have a different set of standards, but I mean for our elementary and secondary schools, that it should be made up of committee members. They should fight out standards and what they think should be statewide and what shouldn't be statewide, and whether these things, if they cost money, then you'd have to get ratification from the towns. I don't think perhaps it should go through the General Assembly necessarily. I think if this is, you're going to mandate the towns to do stuff, then the towns should ultimately be the guiding force on the board.
Okay. What roles do you see school committees playing in your plans for education?
I think a big part, in terms of, let me just look at my note, that I think the innovation can come from there. The adaptability is going to come from individual school committees. That let's say the more affluent school districts and towns, they're able to input more programs. They're able to be more innovative and creative in their development. And usually when you're doing something brand new, it costs more money to accomplish that task. So the poorer communities might not be able to roll these things out as fast, but they'll have the role models from the more affluent communities to draw off of. And I think that's why having the bigger Board of Regents as a bunch of school committee members makes that kind of thing happen, because it's a sharing of information. It's a sharing, as opposed to, I want for my community what I want. And you get this draw from the state that whoever has the most friction, whoever has the most pull gets the most money. It should be a collaborative.
Okay. Who is your principal education advisor?
Just me. I've got a few friends that are teachers, but I tend to keep my own counsel on these things. And
how can people get more information about your positions on education?
I have a website. It's Ronald Algier for FOR, RIGovernor.com.
Okay. And any closing comments you'd like to make?
Just that there's some items in terms of school year. As a state, we have spent a lot of money in education, especially primary education, and for various reasons. And it's not all teachers or all parents or all students, but there is a mixture of blame to go around in terms of what we've done and why we've done it. And in order to go forward and and to get these kids up to speed, one of the things that I propose is a 220-day school year divided into trimesters. That if any community would like to roll it out. Like I said, I'd like the state to make, this is more of a suggestion, because as I want the state to retreat from this, I don't want to mandate that the schools are going to have to go to 220, but I think in order to get our kids caught up to national standards, to at least get us to the 50th percentile. I mean, we're at the 40th in terms of our primary education in the country. If we can get it to at least the 50th percentile, we've made a major stride, and I hope that the local towns and communities and school committees will help in that task.